I'm so used to saying good morning, everyone, that it was just an instant reaction like, no, good afternoon, everyone. Happy Wednesday, June 26th to you. Uh, we're doing our weekly mini episodes for our podcast of Obscure Orations with your two hosts, Taylor and my girl Dana. Now, as we started last week and we're continuing for the next 6 weeks following this, because I think it's only up 8 episodes.
Yes.
We're going to talk about recapping this weekend's episode of House of the Dragon. Episode 2, which was called Rhaenyra the Cruel. I have so many issues.
Okay, so spoiler alert, we are going to talk about things that happened in this episode. So if you have not watched it, please do not watch this episode. Go watch episode 2, Rhaenyra the Cruel, and then come back to us.
Smart. That's smart, because I would have forgotten about that and been like, salmon roll. And just in case anyone's wondering what we're doing, it's because I know there's some people who haven't seen Friends out there. It's from an episode of there's some weird ones out there. They're like, Friends, what's that? Watch it. That's it. So I'm going to go with the thing that bothered me most about the episode this week, because I just want to clear up the I don't want to say rumors, but misconceptions, because I've seen a couple videos on TikTok already talking about it. It was Eric, not... I refer to him as Arik to try and make a difference between the two damn names.
Yeah.
But it was Queen Rhaenyra's guy who fell on the sword. Just so that it's clear for everything, the actor stepped forward and said it. It's been written about in several places, and that's also how it happened in the book, was that he's the one who died later. So I needed to get that out, because it's been bugging me all freaking week, where I'm like, it's Eric, not
Arik.
It's Eric, not Eric.
Eric with an E, Eric. Not Eric with an A.
Yeah. And whoever named their child like that is just rude. Yeah, we have twins. We're going to name them Eric and Eric, but they're going to be different spellings.
Oh.
It's like, why do you do that to them? Why do you do that to all of us?
Yes, I know. Norm was very confused, because once they got to fight, and he's like, who's who? Okay, and then he didn't know that they were twins. He's like, wow, those two guys look a lot alike. I'm like, dude.
You married that.
Did you forget? They separated. One went with Alicent, one stayed with Rhaenyra. They're twins.
He's sitting there and he's like, aren't they the same guy?
He's like, oh. He's mine. I love him.
I was gonna say, he's all hers, ladies. You can't have him. He's taking
hands off.
You're like, can't tell who's twins, but don't worry, he's all mine, guys.
Yeah. So there. I've seen the TikToks too. There was a lot of I'm gonna say confusion. There was a lot of confusion about who actually, like, how it actually happened, like which Eric was the Eric that fell on the throne fell on the sword in front of Rhaenyra, which one was the one that got hit in the arm. Like, it was, once they started fighting, it was very hard to tell them apart.
It really was. And like, it's one of those things where we've all seen like the cartoons of it, like the Spider-Man, where they're like, who are you? I'm the real Spider-Man. No, I'm the real Spider-Man.
Oh, the multiverse Spider-Man.
Exactly. Where you're like, well, you then see it acted out in real life and you're like, oh shit, it actually could happen. It's a legitimate fear now. New fear unlocked. But one of the reasons why I knew who it was, or I was certain about who it was because like Dana and I have a group chat with our girl V, who's been on a couple episodes of this with us and watches these.
Shout out V.
Hey V. We all had a group chat going, and V even wrote in there, she's like, I am so confused what the fuck happened here. And I actually went on to Google and I was like, okay, I screenshot the like the little excerpt from the book where it explains like, okay, because it's a historical book, so to speak. It talks about like, oh yeah, there's a few differing opinions of how it happened and what happened. Where they're like, oh well, it started out in like the front lobby kind of thing in a hallway. Uh, Basically, like all counts kind of said, hey, no one was there to see it, but they all woke up from a dead sleep when they heard clattering and shouting, and the brothers declaring love for each other, but that Rhaenyra's Eric, that's how I'm going to differentiate Rhaenyra's
Okay.
Eric. That's a much better idea. Ooh, that took me a long time. Rhaenyra's Eric gets in several blows. Alicent's Eric gets in several blows. They end up giving each other mortal wounds. But Rhaenyra's Eric is the one who actually like does the last one and does his brother in and like holds him and is crying over the body while he's bleeding out himself. And then he ended up dying. I think in the book it said 4 days later he succumbed to his mortal wounds. So that's how everyone knew that. I'm going to say real Eric, the good one.
Not Eric the imposter.
Yeah, he's an imposter. He's not even real pasta after all. Um, he got to be there for his queen and be like, yeah, I made it.
We done good.
Which I would have preferred to see it that way in the show compared to like it made no sense to me at all that he fell on his own blade. Like I get it to a certain point where he's like, well, I'm upset because I killed my own brother. I'm like,
Yeah, but
he did try to kill you first.
your brother was sent there to kill your queen.
Mm-hmm.
You're protecting your queen. Why would you be upset about killing him? He
Mhm.
obviously, in your eyes, was a traitor to Team Black, right?
Ooh, Team Black, yeah.
Team Black.
Yeah, just in case anyone's wondering, we're not Team Green in these households. Down with Alicent.
So there were a couple things, small things within the episode that when Rhaenyra was talking to Daemon and he was strangling her. Now, of course, I talk to myself a lot when I watch TV. Mostly I watch TV alone, but I do talk to myself or I talk to the cats. They do not answer.
That you know of.
I said to myself, is that the end of their relationship? Like, is their marriage now doomed? Daemon stepped out and he hired Blood and Cheese to kill young Aemon without Rhaenyra knowing, and now half the lands are calling her like cruel and the evil one and whatnot. And yeah, like as a married woman, my husband did that, I'd be like, you get the fuck out, because that shit would not fly with me. So to me, it looked like the beginning of the end of their relationship, where, and again, I've never read the books, so I don't know what's going to happen, and you can confirm or deny. It's up to you.
I can neither confirm nor deny.
I mean, I'm going to assume that Daemon still fights for Team Black.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's still very much, he is in love with her, and I haven't gotten to that part in the book. So, from what I've read from excerpts from it, I can't remember. I know he's gonna die soonish. So, like, but when he goes out, like, he goes out in a blaze of glory. I just don't know where it falls in the timeline of how it will happen in the show.
Okay.
So I know that there's deaths coming that my heart is not prepared for. And
we learned that from Game of Thrones.
Yep. I was going to say, no matter how much you try to prepare, You're never fully ready when you're like, oh, not Ned. Oh, there goes Ned.
Oh, Ned. Episode 1. Man, I really like that Ned Stark guy. Don't. Don't.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's basically it's the same thing for all the characters in House of the Dragon. You're like, oh, I really love. Oh, they're all gonna die anyways. But which one should I love the most? Okay, I love that one the most. Oh, they're gonna die first, aren't they?
So let's address the chicken wing in the room. Oh my god, if I can post that meme, I will. That brothel scene. Let us talk about that brothel scene. That boy needs to eat a biscuit or two.
Oh,
with some gravy.
That was just so. The entire scene of that was so unsettling to bear witness to. Like, all of the memes that have gone out of what Lord Voldemort looked like when he first comes back in Harry Potter.
When he's
and he's
coming
all like,
out of the cauldron.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. It's like, that is exactly what came to mind for that, where I'm like, they had him. Like, I mean, I've never seen the guy undressed. This is the first time I've seen it.
Thank God, I mean.
I feel like they did him dirty. Like, they probably could have done better angling or something, but instead they just kept him all like creepily cocooned. Like, it was
I don't know. Do you ever watch the movie Saltburn? Did you watch that on?
No, I didn't, but my mom did.
Okay, it's very weird.
Yeah.
And there's some scenes in there where you're like, he was in Saltburn.
Oh, was he?
He was.
I remember hearing that. Yes.
He was kind of buff in that movie, so the way that chicken wing scene to see him in the chicken wing formation.
It's the best way to put it.
And I know V's gonna love that. But
Yes.
to see him in that chicken wing formation with his head on the horror's lap, and I'm pointing at the TV, I'm counting his ribs. I'm like, what? Where does the muscles go? Like, did he lose them overnight?
I don't know. Like I said, part of me thinks that it's got to be the angling that they did for the chicken wing to get that to happen. Because it's like, how did he? What? None of it. Like, there wasn't an angle looking at it where I'm like, it's like, it did not look natural whatsoever.
No.
And then just the way that he like even held his head there on the lap, I'm like, all of this feels wrong. Like, I feel like we shouldn't be watching this. We should all be looking at him and be like, you as you were, my lord.
Honestly, it was almost like he was regressing to childhood.
So see, that's one of the parts that I want to talk about, because it was very much a childlike position, because they're the ones who, when you're a kid, they have that weird flexibility that you're like, look, I can throw my leg over here over my head, and you're like, look, I can break my back actually just putting on socks. And for anyone listening to this or watching this, that's from my own experience, where I went to put on a sock and pulled my back. And both of my SI joints went, ee!
I had to have knee surgery after walking off the deck to go pick my son up from SK, so I get it. I got up from the chair and turned to open the screen door.
Mm-hmm.
Tore my meniscus. I could not put pressure on. I could not walk. Mm-hmm. I could not put pressure on my knee. By the time I crawled into the house, I had to have somebody go pick Brendan up from school when he was in SK. Well, that was like the beginning of the end of my knees.
And thus
all downhill after that.
And thus the story began.
Now I'm robotic.
The bionic one.
And when they cremate me, there's going to just be those 2 joints left.
Eventually you'll have a new hip too, so you'll have that.
Yeah.
You'll have 2 joints and a hip. But
so yeah, no, I get it. I get that. That was a position my kids laying on the if they were not feeling well, that's how they laid on the in that chicken wing formation.
That was exactly what I thought. Like, the moment that I saw it, was that moment of like seeing that he was a full grown adult, but then the way that he was curled up on her lap, and even like the way that he had her like
Petting his head.
yeah, say petting his head. It was like you could tell like it was the
This
way that a
head,
mother.
friends, get your minds out
Yeah,
of the gutter.
that's a good point. This one petting the top of his head, and even at one point in time she tries to like go and kiss him, and I says not here, and lays his head back down. And my mom and I both looked at each other and went, what do you mean not here? You're in a whorehouse.
Right.
If not here, where? What standards do
Yeah,
you got?
all these people around them having sex. Don't kiss me.
We don't do that here. You just hold me and cuddle me. It's like,
And pet my head.
okay. And like the other thing that I found interesting too was I don't know if you noticed it, but to me it was how uncomfortable the whore was. Like you could see how stiff she was and how just like there. Oh, I can't remember the line that she said, but about how when lords and kings and all that stuff make decisions, it affects the little people, the small people like me. And just keeps petting his head. It's like, eh.
Are you picking up what I'm putting down, son?
It's like, what kind of weird
Yeah,
relationship y'all got?
I did notice that. I did notice she was very uncomfortable, which
Mhm.
I could assume that if you go to a whorehouse and you revert to a child, it would be uncomfortable for said whore that you bought, because now it's like,
Well, yeah, I was just
cringy.
saying, exactly that moment where you're like, okay, maybe a whore, but I have standards. God. Just like, and this is one of those weird standards that, well, you're a prince, and now because he's a boy, technically he's actually the next heir, like he's next in line for the throne. So it's got to be that moment of going, fuck, what do I do?
Yeah, yeah.
There.
Okay. So now let's talk about the firing of the hand.
Oh, fuck you, Otto. Fuck you, Otto. Get the fuck out of here.
Yes, see you later, Hand Hightower. I was not expecting him to say to Sir Hightower, give the badge to Sir Christian. I was honestly expecting it to be that, and I can't remember saying that little crippled boy.
Oh, Lars?
The one that's the
Yeah,
House of the Dragon Littlefinger.
Yeah, or say Lars. I think it's Lord Lars or Sir Lars or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Lord
Lars.
Baelish's ancestor.
Yes, or say Lars. Oh crap! It just left. Lars Strong, because that was his brother's. His brother was Breakbones.
Okay,
I think.
yeah, I did. Only because he does so much whispering in
Mm-hmm.
Alicent's ear that,
Well,
and then when he whispered in Aegon's ear,
yep.
and he said, he was your father's hand.
Mm-hmm. That was exactly my thought too. Where I thought, oh God, he's going to give it to him, and then he gave it to Cole, and I'm like, give it to Lars. Not for you, Cole.
And then again, there was that meme you shared, the look on his face when the people at work.
You're horrible at your job, but you keep getting promotions anyways.
Like, I honestly, I after the episode was done and I sat there like trying to process everything, I'm like, does Aegon know he's banging his mom?
That's what I want to know. I'm like, are you aware that he's sticking his privates into your mother's privates, and you just gave him a promotion?
He could be your stepdaddy, son.
And he's gonna be like, oh yeah, this is so great. We spend so much time together. It's like, you know why, right? Have you put the pieces together yet, Aegon? Come on.
Yeah, so
okay.
that was interesting.
So let's talk about Aegon's reaction to his baby boy being murdered. And we'll say brutally murdered at that. Obviously,
Yes.
completely decapitated.
Yes.
So I'm glad that they gave him feelings. He got mad. However, at the same time, like, dude, why you gotta go wrecking up all the shit? Like, he went and destroyed something that took his father literal decades to put together with the stone masons.
I am not gonna lie, just small little one,
Oh,
a single one just went. Ooh.
yep. I'm like, ooh. That was exactly how I felt. Where I'm like, okay, listen.
And then
I
then
said,
the, and then there's the set people that actually had to make it going. Oh,
I
the
was gonna say
background.
that was exactly my thought. Where I'm like, oh, those poor people. Like, you put hours into that. Probably, I would assume probably 3D printing them. But we know how long that takes. Like, oh, you guys okay?
Well, it was 2 years in between seasons.
They're like, we have to actually 3D print all of this. We're like, but it looks cool, right? And you're like, it looks amazing. We're going to destroy it.
So I think the one thing that upset me most about Aegon mourning his son was when he went into the room and he was just, I think he was standing in front of the fire just sobbing, and his mother goes in and sees him, says nothing, and walks out. I'm like, woman, your mother license has been revoked. Like, how dare you?
Well, it was shown so perfectly because I hadn't noticed it when we first watched it. But in that episode, I think it's at the beginning of it when they're talking about the funeral procession and all that and how they're going to do the propaganda for it. And she's crying over the loss of her grandson. She's like, it's my grandson. I'm heartbroken about it. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be in the eye of the public. And she's crying. And Otto's sitting there. He's like, it's all right, daughter. It's like, okay. And then you go to the end of the episode where you literally see it happening generation followed by generation, where her father didn't know how to comfort her. And then she goes to her son to go talk about whatever the hell she was going to talk about, to walk in there, and she just looked mortified at the fact. She's like, oh God, he's crying. Nope. And just noped right on out. Like, hardcore, ran out the door, and you're like, excuse me. He's
Yo.
he's your baby. He just lost his baby. It was a grandson for you, a son for him.
An heir to the
And
throne.
exactly, it's like Jaehaerys, because there's not enough name overlapping. Oh, we have Jaehaerys, Jaehaerys third, Jaehaerys the second, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh.
Aegon, second of his name.
Yeah, exactly. Aegon the third, Aegon the fourth. Like, it's just like the I'm gonna go with oh no, basically any any monarch family when you're like, yeah, the name's gonna carry a lot. How many Edwards do you have? A lot. A lot.
Too many.
But just the weight and like how fast she just ran out that door, I'm like, that was what is wrong with you? You are just
Yes.
horrible.
Okay, so since you mentioned it, let's talk funeral procession.
Oh,
Was it absolutely necessary to have the town crier walking in front of the cart carrying that poor boy's body, screaming about Rhaenyra being a
mm-hmm.
bitch? Like, I'm like, dude.
This is caused by Rhaenyra. Ding ding. Like, might as well be walking through shame. Ding ding. Shame. Ding ding.
Scarlet Letterer, for fuck's sakes, with the
Like,
big old K, killer.
like that part was just them doing it. And one of the things that I love about the show, and pretty much anything that George R. R. Martin has written and had adapted into TV shows thus far,
Right.
is the intricacies of everything, where it shows like Alicent didn't want a war to happen. Rhaenyra didn't want a war to happen. Things fucked up and got piled on top of each other. Alicent didn't want to blame Rhaenyra for it. She was like, we don't know that it's actually her. I don't think we should do it. We should just quietly bury him and move along.
Yeah.
He's like, no, 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 we need to do this. And then let's not forget how Aegon completely fucked up when he went and did the, oh, well, I decided to find every single rat catcher that we've employed,
And
hang
hung
every
him in the
single
town
one of them.
square.
And his grandfather, as he's getting fired, goes, way to go. You've just done everything that we just did because you hung 12 men, 12 innocent. He's like, no, no, no. One of them was a murderer. So 11 innocent men were killed for you to find maybe and hopefully the killer. I mean, obviously he did. Thankfully, the puppy is just fine. Good job. Um, but you just wasted all of the good fortune that you had by going on a killing rampage of, I don't know who did it. I'm going to kill all of you instead.
Yeah.
Not how you win a war.
The coming episodes are going to be very tense, I think. Rhaenyra gathering allies, trying to get back those that have turned because of said town crier ringing his bell there. Which, again, it's supposed to be a funeral for the heir to the throne. You're supposed to be taking his body down to the dragon to burn. Why the fuck you ringing out about Rhaenyra being responsible?
Yep.
In those times, you could honestly tell one handmaiden and the town would know by midnight.
Oh God, yeah. Especially when you look at the web, like the spider web that the white worm has and all that, and all of the bees that Lars has. Like, there's no way everyone could have known within days. They could have just put up posters saying wanting Rhaenyra's head on a spike kind of thing, and said she's the reason why Jaehaerys was murdered or anything like that. But what I love too is how, like, Rhaenyra's reaction to it, where she's like, well, how could they think I would do that? I would never do that. I know the heartache of losing a son. I just lost my own. Why would I do that to them? And Damon's just sitting there.
Girl.
Meanwhile, you have Rhaenys, who's literally just glaring at him going, you fucking did this, didn't you? It's like, ooh, she knows. She knows you did it, Damon.
Yeah.
Me? No. I didn't say kill a child.
I'm just going to have a piece of cheese. Talks amongst yourselves.
It's fine. Oh, this crack is so good. But when she, like, tears into Damon and about, like, again, the acting is so freaking good in that show because you can feel it tear at your heartstrings. When you see how much Rhaenyra truly does, like, she truly isn't, this is going to sound like a really weird sentence to say, she truly is in love with her uncle and loves him dearly and deeply and expected better from him. But now she's seeing what her father saw, and even her father absolutely loved and adored his brother and didn't want to not have him as part of his court, but didn't get a choice because he knew he couldn't trust Daemon. And but then seeing the hurt on Damon's face when he's just like, I didn't want a child to die. I said a son for a son. They took it upon themselves to do it this way. Like, okay.
Yeah, he wanted Aegon killed, didn't he?
The other one, Aemon.
Aemon?
Yep, Jaehaerys is the little boy. Aemon is the one who they were going to go and kill.
Yeah.
And then couldn't find him.
I thought Daemon wanted Blood and Cheese to kill the king, basically.
No, he said Aemon at first. I don't know what initially, because it's weird, because in the book, my friend was very unhappy about this fact. She was like, in the book, he doesn't even he doesn't tell them to go after Aemon at all. He tells them, like, in the book, he actually does tell them to go after the kid.
Oh.
So in the book, he's even darker. In the TV show, they're like, I didn't say kill the children.
Yeah,
I said
in the book, go for the baby. They
Yeah,
can't
he's like-
defend themselves.
exactly. It's like, take the children out. Like,
Oh, and that scene where Aegon was screaming at Christian saying, "Where were you? Why weren't you protecting them?"
oh.
I'm like, yeah, go ahead, Cole. Tell them where you were. I was
Yeah.
banging your mama.
Yeah, go ahead, tell him. And then when he goes up to Alicent's Eric and says, "Oh, your cloak's dirty." It's a bad fucking representation right there. I'm like,
Shit go
really?
down.
Really?
Right?
You're gonna go after him saying, "Oh, his cloak is dirty. You're giving us a bad name," says the hoe bag.
Right?
Like, you slept
Male
with.
whore.
It's like, you slept with Rhaenyra. We know for sure once. I'm assuming probably more times than that they just didn't show.
Right.
And then you've been banging Alicent for how long? Yeah, fucked up on the job.
I would honestly, only because she kept saying to her dad, I've sinned, I sinned. That woman got some kind of regret. And I think her and Christian were banging long before Viserys was dead.
Because yeah, it would make sense just because I'm trying to think, like trying to keep the timeline straight. Where it's like, okay, wait, they did a 10-year jump and then another 3-year jump, and then he died. Yes, so yeah, it would make sense just because you figure by the time, I mean, she unfortunately had to sleep with him and was obviously very unhappy about it. Like, oh yeah, this is fun. I need eggs in the morning. You know what else I should really reupholster my furniture. You can tell her just looking off and going, oh yeah, oh ooh ooh.
Do it again.
And then you get to Christian Cole and you're like, oh, this is much better for you. I feel like she was probably well behaved. I think that she actually waited till either the completely Viserys was out of the picture or damn near the end, just because she had Lars drifting around so much looking at her feet and having his own little way, which I kind of think is a sin in of itself.
So I'm gonna say, do you remember in season 1 when Viserys had the I want to have a family dinner, and I think they were banging then because he was looking at her. Cole was looking at Alicent, and she was kind of looking back at him, and you could tell there was something going on.
She was like, yeah, he gets his dinner every night.
He be eating at the Y.
Don't you worry, he full. I mean, I wouldn't be
and
surprised.
Obviously, you know he was good because the look on her face in that first.
You're like, this is definitely a step up from Viserys for her.
Oh,
well, all right then. Ooh, ooh, ooh. The only time I've cheered for her right there. You get it. You get it. You get it. Yeah, girl.
Yeah, we obviously know he's not a vegetarian.
You're like, we know where you eat.
He be licking the meat flaps.
We're gonna have to put a warning on this and be like, meat flap licking happens.
Explicit content. It gets
my
sexual,
God.
friends.
It really, really does.
All in all, I think it was a well done episode. There was again a lot of emotion.
Yes.
Like there was in episode 1, there's a lot of emotion in episode 2. I'm excited for Sunday night to see what episode 3 brings.
I have mild fear because I saw somewhere on TikTok. I legitimately like I saw just a little clip of it and I shut it off. I completely shut the app. I'm like, I will not watch this. because, and again, people, this is highly spoiler. Dana doesn't care, but it was showing the early stages of the 3D visual rendering of when Rhaenys dies.
Oh,
Oh,
that's gonna be hard,
I
right?
like, she is, as much as I love all the characters in the show because they've done such a good job with them. She is 100% my favorite of this show, and I'm not prepared for her to be killed off. I'm like, oh,
Oh,
not ready.
the casting is absolutely
Oh,
phenomenal. Like, I mean, I thought they were spot on in Game of Thrones, but
mhm.
House of the Dragon, I'm like, whoo, y'all hit the nail right on the head.
They did it so well, and I wasn't sure how it was going to work out either. When they did, like, in the first season, where half the season was done with the younger ones, and then they recast them, like, this could go wrong. But they cast everyone to such
Perfect.
perfection. Like, I don't even have words for it. And just the way that they've continued to go with the series, I'm like, it makes me, like you said, so excited to see more, but also at the same time, I gotta like steel my heart. Like,
Yeah,
okay, I'm ready for episode 3.
absolutely.
Oh,
So, episode 3 on Sunday, review on Wednesday.
woo, 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 woo.
So, to our Canadian listeners, because oh no, we'll be back on Sunday, and that's before the 1st of July, right?
Yeah, the 1st of July is Monday. Yes,
Yeah,
it's
I'm
Monday.
sorry, I don't work, so I don't use calendars or days of the week.
She just knows what
I
day we
just
do
wing
this.
it. I'm on a 24-hour system. I get up, I do things, I go to bed, I get up, I do things. Day of the week, meh.
Those are just suggestions. They're more like guidelines.
Guidelines, exactly. All right, then. So we'll be back on Sunday with a full episode, and we do have a guest on Sunday. Um, off the top of my head, I don't have a clue who it is. I
Nope.
I think it's the life coach guy. I'm not
I
sure.
think so too. You'll be surprised, like the rest of us are.
I will check my book, because even though I can't remember in my brain, I do write things down sometimes.
Sometimes we're smart.
All right. So on that, we bid you all a fond farewell. Enjoy the rest of your week. Happy hump day.
Adios.
Ciao, ciao.